Good afternoon, students. So let's start our today's session. Today we will be discussing memory organization. Okay, how memory management is implemented in computer organization and architecture. So in this unit, there will be memory hierarchy, main memory, auxiliary memory, associative memory, cache memory, virtual memory, and memory management hardware. Now, virtual memory and memory management hardware and cache memory. This topic you people have already studied in operating system. So whatever new is there, okay, that I will be discussing in this lecture. Okay, if it will be required, then in next week I may keep some one or two extra lectures. So next week or on this Saturday. So depending on requirement, I will inform you people. So that is one way. Another way is that I have already created resources on my YouTube channel for this unit as well. So I will share you the link of playlist, and from that playlist you can watch all the videos for this unit. Hardly it is taking 3 or 4 hours to complete entire unit. So let's move forward with this. Let's start. So if you look at the memory hierarchy, then and in a hierarchy at the top level, there will be register, then there will be the cache memory, then main memory, then magnetic disk, and then magnetic tab. Now, if you look at the arrangement, okay, if you look at the arrangement, then here you can see there is input output processor. It is connected with peripheral, and then CPU is connected with main memory, cache memory, and IOP, input output processor. So this is just an arrangement. Now, in main memory, we are having two type of memory, RAM and ROM. RAM means random access memory. We can directly access any content, uh, and ROM is read-only memory. So whenever we will be going with, you can say this memory. Okay, these memories will have size. Size means capacity. So if you will look at the RAM, so physically, okay, then on one side of the RAM there will be memory chip, okay, and another side of the RAM there will be controller. So what will be inside the memory chip? Okay, so today here we will be discussing that part, and we will try to create the address space for RAM as well, RAM and ROM. So if we look at the RAM chip, typical RAM chip, then it will have two selection input, chip select 1 and chip select 2. Okay, one read, write, and then 7-bit address. Why? Because here RAM size is 128. So 2 raised to 7, that means 128. And then there will be 8-bit bidirectional data bus. So here in this RAM, this RAM chip will work if and only if value of chip select is 0 and value of chip select 2 is chip select 1 is 1 and chip select 2 is 0. So in that case only it will work. So selection of this chip, okay, selection of this chip will be done with the help of the decoder. So that we will see in the next topic, that how we can create the memory address map. So here how this RAM chip will work, let me tell you. So if value of chip select will be 0, okay, then chip select 2 will be 0, means 0 0, then this will not work. Then chip select 0 and 1, then also it will not work. Then 1 and 0. So in 1 and 0, okay, this will work. In 1 1, it won't work. Okay, so there are these three possibilities where it will work. Okay, so if value of CS1 and CS2 complement, it is 1 0, then and then this chip will work. In rest of the cases, whatever value of read and write is there, it won't be considered. Now, if this chip is selected, but read and write both input are 0 0, read and write both input are 0 0, then again this chip will be disconnected state. It will be in disconnected state. If it is 0 1 means value of read is 0 and value of write is 1. Okay, in that case, uh, it will write the content to the RAM. So whatever data is placed in 8-bit data bus, it will be stored inside RAM. If it is 1 and don't care, here you can see 1 and don't care. So whether write is 0 or 1, in that case, read operation will be performed. In that case, read operation will be performed. So whatever 7-bit address we have specified, using that address, the content of that RAM location will be read, and that content will be forwarded to the 8-bit data bus. Now here, what is the meaning of this don't care? Meaning of don't care is that if read input is enabled, then whatever value of write is there, it won't be considered. So in simple word, we can say that read is having higher priority compared to write. Read is having higher priority compared to write. So this is how a RAM chip will look. Okay, and in ROM chip, ROM means read only memory. So in most of cases, what will happen? Manufacturer will write static program in ROM. So every time we are going to use that program. So we cannot manipulate that program. So in ROM, okay, let's say size of the ROM is 512 cross 8. Size of the ROM is 512 cross 8. So in that case, chip select 1 and chip select 2. Okay, this will be chip select input. Again, same as RAM. This will work when value of chip select 1 is 1 and value of chip select 2 is 0. So in that case only it will work. Okay, and then whatever 9-bit address we will give, then using that 9-bit address, whatever content is stored on that 9-bit address, it will be directly transferred to the data bus. It will be directly transferred to the data bus. Now, here, the number of bits in address depending on the size of the RAM. Okay, so if it is 1K RAM, okay, if it is 1K RAM, then here instead of 7-bit, there will be 10-bit address. Okay, if it is 2K RAM, then instead of 9, there will be 11-bit. Instead of 9, there will be 11-bit. So here, the number of bit in address will depends on the chip. Okay, what is the size of this chip? And again, you remember one thing here, arrow is bidirectional, so we can perform read and write. And here, arrow is unidirectional and it is outward. So we cannot perform write operation in ROM chip. We can simply use it. We can simply read the content. Now, how memory address map of RAM chip or ROM chip will be created? So here in scenario, they have given one condition that 512 bytes of RAM and 512 bytes of RAM. Okay, so if you look at the previous chip, okay, then here you can see we are having chip of 128. So we require 4 chip of RAM, okay, and 512 of ROM. So we require 1 chip of ROM, okay, 4 chip for RAM and 1 chip for ROM. So let me explain you that how we can prepare a test map for this. Now here, How many bits are there in address? As you can see, in address, we are having 4-digit address and it is in hexadecimal. So 16-bit address is there. So 16-bit address is there. Now, out of the 16-bit, 7 bit will be used. 7 bits will be used to specify address of RAM. Address of RAM. Now here, how many RAM chips we are having? We are having 4 RAM chips. Okay. So first RAM chip will have value 00, bit number 8 and bit number 9. Second RAM chip will have 01. Third RAM chip will have 10 and fourth will have 11. Okay. And in all these cases, value of 10th bit will be 0000. Value of 10th bit will be 00000. Okay. Now, if we are having ROM chip, okay, in ROM chip, we will have 9-bit address. Okay, we will have 9 bits for address. So we will be considering 10th bit. Okay, if value of 10th bit is 1, then value of 10th bit is 1, 9 bit can be any. Okay, then it will be used for ROM. What will be the address range of first RAM chip? What will be the address range of first RAM chip? So if we write down 10 bit, okay, then 4 bit, 3 bit, 4 plus 3, 7. Bit number 8 will be 0, bit number 9 will be 0, and bit number 10 will be 0. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, bit number 9, and bit number 10. What will be the last address of this RAM chip? 7-bit address is there, so 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Okay, and bit number 9 and 8 will be 0, 0. This is address for first RAM chip. For second RAM chip, bit number 10 will be 0, bit number 9 will be 0, bit number 8 will be 1, and bit number 5, 6, 7 will be 0, 0, 0. Starting address 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and ending address will be 0, 0, 1. Okay, and 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So here starting address is 0 and ending address is, this is F, this is 7 and leading 0, 0. Okay, so all 0 to 007F. Then 0080. Okay, so here 0, 0, 8, 0, 2, 0, 0, F, F. So 0080200FF. Okay, so this is starting address and this is ending address of first RAM chip. Starting address and ending address second RAM chip. Starting address, ending address third RAM chip. Starting address, ending address fourth RAM chip. Okay, and for ROM, Okay, for ROM, we will have 9 bit. Okay, and value of 10th bit will be 1. So value of 10th bit is 1. Value of 9 bit will be 0. So 0, 0. And so this is 0, this is 0, this is 2, and again 0, because we are having 16-bit address. And NTIC address will be 1, 1, then 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So F3, 0. Okay, so 0, 3 FF. So this is starting address and this is ending address of round. Are you clear with this, all of you, that how we are getting this address? All of you clear with this, that how we are getting the address? Okay. Now, if we try to connect this, then how it can be connected? So that connection, if we want to implement this scenario means 5 and 2 bytes of RAM and 5 and 2 bytes of ROM. Okay, then how we can connect it with the circuit? So here you can see first 7-bit will be given as an input to RAM 1, RAM 2, RAM 3, RAM 4. Okay, and it will be directly given as an input to ROM. It will be directly given as an input to ROM. So first 7-bit will be directly given as an input. Now read and write input will be directly given as input to RAM. Read, write, read, write, read, write. Address 7, address 7, address 7, address 7. Now we have to give the value. Now we have to specify the value of chip select 1 and chip select 2. Now, if you can recall, then here you can see when RAM is selected, the value of 10 bit is 0. Okay, so what we will do, we will directly give it as an input to CS2 bar. Okay, so this 0 will be converted to 1. This 0 will be converted to 1. So 10, okay, 10 will be directly given as input to chip select 2 complement. Chip select 2 complement. Chip select 2 complement. Chip select 2 complement. And chip select 1 will be given via decoder. It will be given via decoder. Okay, so if we will give 0 0 as input, then we will get output from 0. If we will give 0 1, then we will get output from pin number 1. If we will give 1 0, then we will get output from 2. If we will give 1 1, then we will get output from 3. Okay, so 0 0 means bit number 8 and 9. Bit number 8 and bit number 9 will be given to 2 cross 4 decoder. It will be given as input to decoder of size 2 cross 4. So if it is 0 0, then we will get output from here. We will get output from here. So this will be 1 and this will be 1. So this RAM chip will be selected. If we will give 0 1, then we will get output from here. Okay, this will be 1. Chip select to complement, it will be also 1. So RAM 2 will be selected. If we will give 1 0, then we will get output from 2. Okay, and here this will be 1, this will be 1, so RAM 3 will be selected. And if we will give 1 1 as a bit number 8 and 9, then RAM 4 will be selected. This will be 1, this will be 1, so RAM 4 will be selected. Now, if the value of bit number 10 is 1, okay, here you can see when we are going to select the ROM chip, if at that time value of bit number 10 will be 1. So if value of bit number 10 is 1, in that case value of CS2 will be 0 in all RAM chip, in all RAM chip. Okay, so none of this RAM chip will be selected. Okay, so here in that case bit number 10 is given as a inverted input to chip select 2 of ROM. Bit number chip select 2 of ROM, and it is combined with read. Read will be given as the input to CS1. CS1. Okay, read will be given as the input to CS1, and to CS2 complement we will give bit number 10 as the inverted input. Okay, bit number 1 to 9 will be given as a address of ROM. So in that case, ROM will be selected, whatever address will be there on specific location. Okay, using that address, content will be retrieved. Okay, and whatever content is there on that location on ROM, it will be placed into database. It will be placed into database. So this is how connection of memory to CPU is done. Next is associative memory. Next is associative memory. So what is associative memory? Now, associative memory is also known as content addressable memory. Content addressable memory. So till now, whenever we were accessing the memory, okay, we have accessed memory using address. But in associative memory, content will be accessed with the help of, or means memory will be accessed with the help of content. Okay, rather than searching the address, we will search the content into the memory. So how this will work? We will have an argument register, we will have a key register, and then we will have an associative memory logic, and here we will have match register. How this will work? Ending of A and K, A and Okay, ending operation will be done. Okay, for example, argument register is, let's say, 110010. Okay, and key register is, let's say, 111000. So what is the meaning of this? Meaning of this is we want all the pattern where first three bits are 110. First three bits are 110. So this is A and this is key. So key will tell us that which bits from argument we want to consider. So here we have written 111. So this last three bits should be 110. Okay, whatever value of this first three bit is that we are not going to consider. So how it will be done? Compare each word in content addressable memory in parallel with content of argument register. Okay, a key provide a mask for choosing a particular field in key. Let's say if I want full pattern, okay, let's say if I want full pattern 110010, okay, then value of key will be 111111. Okay, so all the bits of this associative memory, all the bits of a word or a location of associative memory will be compared, and if all the bits are matching, then that for that particular match register, that value will be set to 1. So let me show you it in next slide. But in normal memory, we will search using address, but in content or in associative memory or in content addressable memory, we will search with the help of argument register and with the help of the key. Okay, so how this will work? Let me explain you. This is our argument. Okay, this is 3-bit argument register, and this is 3-bit key. Now let's say this is our value 101 110 101. Value of key is 1. Means we want to match all the bits. And let's say value of argument is 101. Okay, so this is word 1, word 2, word M, likewise, word N, M or N, whatever you want to say. So for first word, okay, here what is the value of key? Value of key is 111. Okay, value of key is 111. So we will compare all the bits of argument. So we will compare this one with one. It is matching. This 0 with 0, this 1 with 1. Okay, if all the bits are matching, then the value of this M1 will be set to 1. Here, this 1 and 1, it is matching. This 0 and 1, it is not matching. So immediately, this will be marked to 0. Okay, then for third one, this 1 and 1 is matching. 0 and 0 matching. 1 and 1 is matching. So all three bits are matching. So we will mark it as 1 1. At the end of iteration, we will look at the match register. We will look at the match register, and wherever there is 1 on that location, this argument is matching. This argument is matching. Okay, the value of key is, let's say, 101. Okay, value of key is, let's say, 101. Okay, it is 101. That means we will not consider the second bit. We will consider only first and last bit. So first bit 1 and 1. Second bit we are not going to consider. Third bit 1 and 1. It is matching. So this will be set to 1. 1 and 1 matching 0. Okay, so that means we are not going to match this one. Last bit is 1. So 1 and 0, it is not matching. So it will be 0. Okay, and similarly in third case also we will get the 1. Okay, so this match register will tell us that on which location the particular argument is matching. On which location particular argument is matching. Clear till now? All of you clear till now? Okay. Let's move forward. Next topic is cache memory. So in cache memory, the locality of reference. Locality of reference means at any given distance of time, whatever word we are looking for, that word should be available inside the cache memory. So we don't have to access the primary memory or the secondary memory. So there are two type of locality, temporal locality and spatial locality. So what is temporal locality? The information which will be used in near future is likely to be used in use already. So reuse the information in loop. And what is the spatial locality? A word is accessed and adjacent word are likely to be accessed very soon in near future. So in temporal locality, whatever the word or whatever information we are using, that will be stored into the cache memory. And what will happen in spatial locality? In spatial locality, whatever memory location we are using, content of the memory location we are using, the adjacent content of that location will be placed into the spatial into the cache memory. That is spatial locality. In simple word, many times if you are watching movie, okay, if you skip the movie for 5 seconds or 10 seconds or 20 seconds, then it won't create any problem. Okay, but if you are skipping movie to let's say 1 hour or 30 minutes or 40 minutes, okay, then it will take some time. Why? Because using spatial locality, upcoming content will be placed into the cache with the assumption that it will be required in near future. What will happen in temporal locality? In temporal locality, whatever variable we are using right now, okay, we will keep it in cache memory with assumption that in near future that same variable we will be using. Now, what is the need of cache memory? We know that CPU operates with very high clock frequency, and main memory operates with lower clock frequency. So there is a clock frequency gap between main memory and CPU. Main memory and CPU. So to fill the gap, we will use the cache memory. Cache memory is a high-speed memory, and whatever data we are fetching from the main memory, we will try to accommodate into the cache memory. We will try to place it into the cache memory. Nowadays in CPU, we are having L1 cache, L2 cache, L3 cache. Let's say L1 cache will be individual to the core. Okay, L2 cache will be shared between, let's say, two logical core, and L3 will be shared between all physical core. So we are having three type of cache memory: L1, level 2, and level 3. So it depend on the architecture that how it is arranged. Now, performance of cache. So this you people have already studied in operating system. So let me tell you very quickly that cache hit. Cache hit means whatever content we are looking for. Okay, if that content is available inside the cache memory, then we will call it cache hit. And whatever content, if we are looking for, it is not available into the cache memory, we have to bring it from the cache memory, then we will call it cache hit. No, sorry, cache miss. Okay, why? Because we are not able to find that content into the cache memory. So how the performance ratio, how the heat ratio, how the performance of cache memory is calculated? It is calculated using heat ratio. What is heat ratio? Heat ratio means uh, cache hit divided by cache hit plus cache miss. So in exam 1 or 2 marks, you may be asked to calculate the heat ratio. Now, how this mapping will be done? How this mapping will be done into the cache memory? So for that, we are having three options: associative mapping, direct mapping, and set associative mapping. What will happen in associative mapping? In associative mapping, this content addressable memory or cache memory will be divided into two parts. It will be divided into two parts. The full address of content along with the content will be stored into the cache memory. Okay, so here 15-bit address will be stored into this, and as well as whatever 12-bit data is there, that will be also stored. Here address is represented in form of octal. Okay, here address is represented in form of octal. So whenever in near future, if we require any data, okay, then first it will be searched into the content means cache memory, and if that address is matching, then whatever data is there on that address, it will be directly forwarded to the CPU. It will be directly forwarded to the CPU. So this is most flexible, it is very fast, but it is very expensive. Okay, why? Because we need to implement a circuit that will match all these 15 bit, that will match all these 15 bit. So that's why it is known as content addressable memory, because we will match the content rather than address. What will happen in direct mapping? In direct mapping, these 15 bits will be divided into two parts. It will be divided into two parts: index and tag. Index and tag. So as I told you, it will be divided into two parts: k bit index and n minus k bit tag. Index and tag. So if this is the memory address, okay, and this is the memory data, then here you can see that this content will be stored in memory, like let's say 000 will be used as an index, and first 20 will be used as a tag. So 000 and whatever content is there, that is 1220, it will be stored into data part. So this mapping technique will allow us to store the larger amount of data. Why? Because here we are using only 6 bit for storing the stack, while we can use the more data for content. Okay. If you want to store the content on this, okay, then 777 will be index, and here tag will be 01. Tag will be 01. And whatever data will be there, let's say 4560, it will be stored over here. Now, while we are storing this, okay, what will be the advantage? Advantage will be, previously we were comparing all 15 bit. Previously we were comparing all 15 bit. Here we will directly go to the address or index, okay, and on that index we will compare only 6 bit. We will compare only 6 bit. Okay, so previously we were comparing 15 bit, and in this scenario we are comparing only 6 bit. So the total number of comparison will be reduced. So only tag will be matched. Okay, only tag will be compared. Now if that tag data, whatever, let's say 00777, okay, so it will go to location 777 and then it will match the tag. Okay, if tag is not matching with this tag, then the data from the main memory will be retrieved, and whatever tag is there, a tag will be updated with the latest content. So here 002 will be replaced with 00 and content will be 2340. So cache memory will be updated. So this is the example of direct mapping. Now, to improve the direct mapping, it will be further divided, or it will be further classified into direct mapping with the help of the block. Okay, block 0, block 1, block 63. So block wise, okay, block wise it will be stored. So previously 15-bit address was there. Now that 15-bit address will be divided into three parts. 6-bit will be tag, 6-bit will be block, and 6-bit will be, 3-bit will be for word. Okay, so 6 plus 6 plus 3. Okay, so instead of comparing only tag, here we will compare tag, block, and then we will go with the word. Then we will go with the word. So that is the direct mapping. In set associative mapping, on one index, we will have two tags, tag 0 means tag 1 and tag 2. So on one index, we can store the two value, which was the limitation of direct mapping. If index and tag both are matching, then whatever content is there, that will be directly forwarded to the CPU. Otherwise, it will result into cache miss. So the memory will be accessed and content will be retrieved, tag will be updated, whatever new value will be there. So this tag will be updated, and with respect to tag, whatever content will be there, it will be also updated. It will be also updated. Now, how cache update will be done? So for that, we are having two options, write through and write back. So what is write through? In write through, whenever we will update any variable inside the cache memory, we will immediately update that variable in primary memory as well. Okay, so immediately value will be reflected in cache memory as well as primary memory. Okay, this is slow because memory access time. Okay, but what will be the advantage? Advantage is that if that same memory is shared with some other process, then that process will receive the updated value. That process will receive the updated value. What is write back? So in write back, the content of main memory won't be updated. Only content of cache memory will be updated. Only content of cache memory will be updated. Now, whenever there will be cache miss, and if we are updating that particular location, for example, let's say there is a cache miss for index 77700. Okay, so we are replacing this content with tag 00. So at that time only this content will be updated into the RAM. Otherwise, every time the local copy will be updated, the primary memory will be as it is. What is the disadvantage of this? Disadvantage of this will be, let's say if a memory location is shared, then updated value will be inside cache memory only. It won't be updated inside the RAM. So shared value will be unupdated, or you can say it will be old value compared to the cache memory. And another advantage will be there, that this will be fast. Why? Because here we don't have to access the RAM. Here we don't have to access the. Then comes the virtual memory. So this part you people have already studied in operating system. Okay, you people know that what is paging, what is multi-level paging, what is segmentation, what is segmentation plus paging. So that part is covered over here. Okay, So you people are already familiar with this page for then mapping physical to logical, logical to physical mapping, conversion. Okay, these are the page replacement algorithm, FIFO, optimal, LRU, segmentation. So this you people have already studied it in operating system. So we are not going to consider this into picture. With this, we will conclude this unit over here. Okay. Uh, if you are having any question, any query, then you can ask me, or